How we
All
doing?
right, welcome back, everybody. It is currently 12:48 p.m. Central Time, Sunday, April 20th. Happy Easter. Hope everyone had a great Easter weekend. James, you are back on the podcast. We look a little bit more professional today. With Can't really see it, but I do have a microphone. Finally figured out how that works and headphones, so we should have good audio for once
It does sound
on
good.
this podcast. How are you doing?
Doing great. Doing fantastic. Waiting for fatherhood.
Yeah, when's that happening?
September. Football
What
season.
day? Do you know?
No, not yet.
Okay, my birthday's September 17th. I was curious.
It'll be somewhere around there. What's
Awesome.
your like a sign or whatever?
Virgo, I assume that's what you're going
Yeah.
for?
Yeah, I was just
I
curious.
don't follow that shit. I know what I am because girls have told me.
I was gonna say I don't follow it either. I know that I'm a Gemini, but that's
I couldn't tell you what mine was, but I've had girls ask me like, "When's your birthday?" And I'll tell them, and they're like, "Oh, you're a Virgo," and it just stuck ever since. All right, so what we're doing today, based on the title, is we're doing a mock draft. Long overdue. James, I got half of mine to do 2 rounds since we only have. This is the only mock draft we're probably going to do this off season.
dude, I don't know 64 cards.
I know you were going to say that.
So there's no fucking shot. In a normal year, I would say I could easily do that, but no shot. I had a hard time doing 30. This is the hardest I've ever had doing a 32 team mock draft ever.
Yeah, I have been trying to prepare myself, like, because we do it every year. We do our own mock draft, and we try to best the other. And every single time I get to like 26, 27, 28,
Yep.
and I
Then
just
it's
lose
in.
interest. I'm like, gosh, I don't know what else I'm gonna do. And
This year it
it's
was
so
like
close.
14 though. This year it was like at 14 or 15. I was just like, I don't even care after this. Everyone's the same after this in my eyes.
It's
We'll see.
it's not a great mock. So let's go ahead and get started. I got the mock draft simulator up on PFF. You got odds, and I will take evens. So
Hell
you
yeah.
got the number one overall pick.
Very easy. I think this has pretty much been set in stone for weeks now. I'm going to go Cam Ward.
Yeah.
I've come around on Cam Ward. I actually do think will be pretty good. I don't know if Tennessee will be the best infrastructure for him, but just as a player, I do think he's pretty good. He's got a big arm. He looks pretty calm in the pocket, which I think is for some reason really underrated when people are like evaluating quarterbacks. But I think Cam will be good and definitely going him number one.
Yeah, all signs are pointing to that. He's currently, I got FanDuel pulled up. He's been stuck at like minus 20,000. He's got number one for weeks at this point. I'm surprised
Yeah.
they haven't taken him off.
Yeah.
But all signs are pointing that way. So now it's my turn, and I like Cam Ward by the way as well. In a normal year, he might not be the first quarterback off the board, but like if it was last year, does he get picked before Penix? Maybe, I don't know.
I think they're honestly pretty similar players.
Yeah,
Maybe a little more athletic. Cam's slightly more athletic, but Penix maybe has a slightly better arm. But I think they're pretty similar
Definitely that,
prospects,
yeah.
honestly.
but I like Cam Ward. I think that would be a good pickup for the Titans. All right, so Cleveland. Right now, all signs are pointing to Travis Hunter, and that's what I'm going to do. He's right now minus 950 to be taken number 2 overall, and that has only gone up the last couple days, so it's going to take a lot for that to come down, in my opinion, and I just don't think that's going to do it. Neither of us are all that high on Travis Hunter. Like, I think he's a good player, but I don't see him playing both ways in the NFL. That's just not – you don't see that in the NFL,
Yeah.
number one.
First of all, I do think that'll be the pick as well. I don't like the pick. Not that I don't think
I don't
Travis
either.
Hunter is a great player or prospect. I don't see him going number 2 in 80% of drafts probably.
Yeah.
I think it's just because it's a down year. Again, I think he'll be really good. I think he can be a really good D-back and get packages on offense. Somebody made a really good point the other day. I forget what I was listening to, but they were like, let's say hypothetically Travis Hunter can hold up physically, playing both sides of the ball, which is a massive, massive if. How is he going to study game plans and everything for two sides of the ball every week. There's just not enough. There's not enough hours in the day, I think was the quote that was said.
Yeah, where did I heard that? I heard that as well. I forget.
I think John Middlecoff said it, but he heard it
Yeah.
from another podcast, and like I hadn't really thought about that, but like that's so true. I mean, these guys spend probably a good 10, 15 hours a week watching film. I don't know. You can't do both. And Middlecoff was saying like he's going to think that's like an insult to like a Patrick Surtain and a Jamar Chase. Like, oh, you think you're going to go run routes at practice and then cover me during the game, or you think you're going to go, like you think you're going to be able to cover like I do when I do this all day, every single day. This is all I do. So I just thought it was a really good point, and that's why I don't really like the pick at 2. It's like I think he can be pretty good at both, but I don't know if he's going to be able to be great at either. But he is a freak
I think
out.
he'd be like a really good number 2 corner, like
I agree.
borderline number 1 corner.
Reminds me of like
I
a
think he'll be
Denzel
that.
Ward, ironically.
Yeah, I think that's a good comp.
Yeah.
But receiver, like I saw him try to run those routes at Colorado's Pro Day. Like it's just, I just don't see him as a receiver. Who was the guy? He played for New England for a long time. In the early Brady Belichick era, and he did kind of play both ways sometimes. Was it Deion Branch?
I don't think Deion Branch played both. I could be wrong. I know he
Like, I think they only did it for like a season, maybe.
maybe.
But he wore like number 84, and sometimes they would put him out there at corner. And that was just funny to see.
That's a Belichick thing. And that's the thing. Like, do I think Travis Hunter can be a really good D-back and get some packages on offense, where they get him on screens or maybe even a go route? Sure. I mean, he is a very great athlete. He has good hands and everything, but it's just, dude, you can't run go routes and then go cover go routes back to back. Like, it's just, your lungs aren't going to be able to take it. So, we'll see.
Man, I could see a scenario, like, I think he's maybe a better version of Devin Hester. Like,
Yeah.
you might put him on the field on offense for special packages and just try to get the defense to, take attention away from the defense and, just try to spread them out. But probably not going to end up being elite on the offensive side of the ball. All right, so you're up with number 3, the New York Giants.
First shakeup of the draft, I am actually going to go Shedeur Sanders here.
Wow. Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Obviously, I think Abdul Carter is best player available here. But Dayball and Shane are trying to, I think that's how you say his last name, Joe Shane. They're trying to save their job and getting a third really good edge rush. They already have 2 really good edge rushers. That doesn't mean you can't take a third. And it doesn't mean that if they thought they had a guy at quarterback that they wouldn't take him. I almost guarantee they would, but they're trying to save their job, which I don't blame them. And I think Shedeur Sanders is actually maybe even a little underrated at this point as a prospect. I don't think you need a rocket arm to be good in today's NFL if you're very accurate, which he is. We will see. He's a little. It's pretty ironic that Deion Sanders is his dad and he's not that athletic. But I do. I actually, the more I've been listening to things, he just had that private workout with him, which doesn't really mean much. I do think they're going to go Shedeur Sanders here, and I have that in my own mock.
So right now, Abdul Carter is minus 600 to go number 3 overall.
I can see it.
But was that higher yesterday when I texted that to you?
I can check. My phone's
me
actually
check
charging
real quick.
real quick. I don't know, man. It's like, who are you taking off the field all the time? Kayvon, Brian Burns, who you're paying $1 trillion? I don't know. Not that
That was Friday.
that's a good problem to have, but
Okay, so no, yesterday it was minus 600. What did I say just now?
600.
Minus 600. So not much change, or no change at all. That's an interesting. Now you've left me because that's kind of a shock.
Yeah. That's why these are hard to every others.
I know. Now you've really opened it up.
Yeah.
New England at 4. So right now, and by the way, I don't disagree with your sentiment on the Giants. They do. Both of those guys do really need to save their jobs, and Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson aren't long-term solutions.
They're not even short-term solutions at this point in their careers.
Right, and like at least with Shedeur, there's a mystery box.
Yeah.
He might be good,
Yeah.
and if he's good, like you just saved your jobs.
Yep.
So if we were in charge of the Giants, I think that's what we would do.
Yeah.
but it doesn't seem like that's what's going to happen right now. But
I
things
think
could
they
change.
would.
I'm definitely keeping an eye on that because Shadur Sanders is favored second to go at the spot, but plus 490, so kind of a distant second compared to
Yeah,
minus 600.
and I get it. I'm not going to say. I'd probably be surprised if it happened, but that's just kind of where I have it in my mock right now. I think that that's something. This draft is so up in the air. It's not even funny, especially after those first four prospects. But yeah, I already know who you're going to take it for, and they're going to sprint up to the podium if Shadur Sanders is the third pick.
Yeah, right now. So again, right now, Will Campbell's minus 950. This is a huge jump from where it was yesterday.
Well, that's
Which I
because
think
they're
it
thinking.
was
That's because they're basing
right,
that off the odds from Abdul Carter for three.
right, and but if this is the way the board falls, I think it's going to be Abdul Carter. Like
Yeah.
you're talking about one of the top, maybe the best player in this draft.
Yep.
I like him more than Travis Hunter.
For my money, he's the best player in the draft.
So I'm going to go Abdul Carter here.
Yep.
All right, you're up now with Jacksonville.
All right, I think, I think this is probably going to be the pick, and I think it's going to be Mason Graham, defensive tackle.
I'm interested to see what happens here.
I think I could see them going one of the tackles, especially if Will Campbell is still available here, if he isn't taken by the Patriots because maybe Shadur's in. But I think Mason Graham's the pick regardless at this point.
Right now, he is minus 140 to go in the spot, and that's kind of held for like the last week.
Yeah.
Ashton Genty right now is second at plus 300, so
I just
I'm
don't get
kind of
it.
interested in seeing that. I wouldn't get that either. All right, so now I'm up with the Raiders at number 6. FanDuel only goes to 5. Let's see what DraftKings has right now. Where's the NFL? So number 6 right now, Ashton Genty is favored at minus 125.
I don't see it. I just
You don't see the Raiders doing that, or you don't see that at
No.
all?
I don't see that. I don't see the Raiders doing that.
This is a tough spot.
It's just I don't see how that makes them a lick better this year. I just really don't.
Well, here's my thing: is Will Campbell is likely a guard.
Yeah, because of the short arms.
Short arms.
We'll see though.
I mean, not
He did
not
hold up
athletic.
in
I
the
mean,
SEC pretty well.
yeah, I mean, it's possible. I just worry about those arms.
Yeah.
And I think the Raiders are pretty good along the offensive line, except for like at right tackle. That's why like it could be Armand Membu. Like if Campbell gets picked at 4, I think Membu's in player at 6.
Yeah.
Let me go back and look. Ted McMillan, I think, could be in play here, but injury concerns.
I don't disagree. It's this draft, man. Like
It's yeah.
He-
See, this is when it gets messy.
these are usually not that you're right, but like you're just like, oh, it's gonna be like one of these two players for sure. Like right now, I'm just like, I don't know. Like somebody might think one of these random because I think there's like 4 or 5 like tackles that are gonna go in the first, or tackles that could be guards as well, go in the first round. But like they're none of them are like elite prospects in my opinion. So it's tough.
Best player on the board, I think, is Ashton Genty, honestly. So that's what I'm going with here.
All right.
That Shadur pick really mucked things up.
I know. I did. That's what I really had in my mock, so I had to do it. I think those odds will change a little bit this week, but we'll see.
We'll see. I am holding firm that Shadur is going to end up being a top 10 pick. Whether that's the Giants, I think the Saints might be more likely at this point. Although at the same time, the Saints are a front office that can't see past the current year, and all of a sudden they're going to change that at the quarterback position. I'm not buying that either.
I think, yeah, I think you're underrating the chances the Raiders take Shadur as well. But we'll see. 7.
Yeah, maybe.
7. I do think they're going to go O-line here. I don't really think they have much of a choice. It's a lot of things the Jets could get, obviously. I'm gonna just go Will Campbell because I think he is probably the best O lineman available, just based on everything. And listen, I mean, if he ends up being an elite guard instead of a good tackle, I don't think that's as terrible of a pick as it used to be. I think
At least give him a shot at tackle.
yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I mean, like I said, if he was from maybe a smaller school or even like a Big Ten, Big 12, ACC school, like I'd maybe feel a little bit worse about the arms. But I mean, he was clearly holding up against NFL pass rushers very well. So
Who was I listening to? I was listening to yesterday to the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. They did a mock draft marathon where they did all 7 rounds and they streamed for like 7 hours. And they had on someone, I forget who, maybe Mike Brenner, and they wanted to take one of the teams in like the 4th round to take a guard. And he was like, the problem with this draft is all the best guards in this class are tackles.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way this class is.
Because if they thought, I'm going to tell you right now, if there was a guy that a tackle would go over Travis Hunter at 2, for example,
Sure.
Or something like that, if there was like actually an elite tackle prospect in this draft. So I totally agree. I don't think there's probably some guys with a lot of upside as far as like body type and everything, but nobody's put it all together yet, including Will Campbell, who again has little T-Rex arms. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that if he was on the board for the Jets. Give him a shot at right tackle. They could use one, and if not, kick him inside the guard, and I think they'll have a really good guard.
They have 2 good guards, because they picked Vera Tucker. Was that a couple years ago?
Yeah, what 2021 sounds?
Damn,
right?
has it been that long?
I think so. Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
All right, so now Carolina is up, and this one might surprise people. By the way, Armand Membu currently favored to go at number 7 at plus 150.
That's who I have in my own mock draft, by the way.
Yeah. But this guy is favored to go number 8 on DraftKings, and this one might surprise people. But I'm going to go with Jalen Walker. I don't know what position this dude plays. If he's a linebacker, and he's a little too small to be an edge rusher, but he's not. He's a little too athletic, kind of to be a linebacker.
Yeah.
But Carolina needs pass rushers, and I think this dude could be like a Bruce Irvin, play off ball, probably more of a pass rusher though for them, and provide some sort of pressure in that defense.
No, I like that pick. I had someone similar to that in my draft. Saints. This is where I think a lot of people.
I don't know what you're gonna do here.
I mean, obviously, Shedeur would be a good pick here. There's so much shit that they need, and I could easily see them going with an offensive player just because they just brought in Kellen Moore and everything like that. But I told you I hate my mock and I hate this pick, but I'm going to go Will Johnson, cornerback there. Okay. They definitely need a corner. I don't know if he's going to be the first corner off the board or not, but I know, he had some big hype before this most recent season, so I'll go Will Johnson.
So right now, he is the favorite, and this number has gone up. He is minus 240 to be the first DB off the board not named Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
So I think that's within his range. If he goes 6, I wouldn't be shocked. I think New Orleans, if this is the way the board fell, they'd probably just go best player available. And you did say Will Johnson, so I'm going to put that in. All right, now I got the Bears. I think they want Ashton Genty. I'm not convinced he's going to be there. And I'm also not convinced that they'll reach for a running back here.
That's who I have in my mock, so. No, they're not going to go.
I'm going to do this. It does make some sense given their situation with Cole Kmet. But I'm going to go Tyler Warren.
Okay.
I think this dude's going to end up being a top 10 pick, somewhere between 7 and 10.
See, I totally agree with that. I didn't have him there in my mock, but I just think having just somebody, a chess piece, honestly, for Ben Johnson to kind of move around a little bit, is something good.
Well, we
there.
were talking yesterday, and I don't know if you understood what I meant. I feel okay about the 10 players that are going to be in the top 10. Where they go, I'm not quite sure, but for the most part, other than Shedeur, we're 9 for 10 here.
Yeah,
and I think that this is about the way it's going to fall.
We'll see. From what Middlecoff was saying, there's going to be some huge surprises in this draft just because a lot of people have a similar grade from the 10th best player to like the 50th best player. So like a lot of people might reach for upside and things like that. So we'll see.
I think that's definitely going to happen at some point. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to get to a point where, and it might be right here at 11, where I think teams are just going to bet on traits. And that's usually what happens when the draft becomes uncertain. Just bet on traits.
Why not? Yeah. I mean, it's better to miss on a guy who's, a freak than miss on a guy who's like, undersized or went to a small school or something like that. When those guys hit, you look like a genius, but when they don't, you look like the dumbest guy in the room. So I'll try to make myself look smart. 11 49ers. Again, I think there's a lot of ways they could go here, but ultimately I think they're a very similar team to like the Packers, the Eagles, teams like that. They're going to go some sort of lineman. And I think probably the best lineman available is Walter Nolan, D tackle. So
Okay. I could see that.
Yeah, me too. That's my draft crush.
One thing you just said I wanted to follow up on. I think you're going to see a lot of trenches because I think Philadelphia, putting it one way, changed the game. Yeah. And I think every single team is going to go into this draft saying we need to hammer O-line, we need to hammer D-line, and we need to get a run game. And this draft, you're going to find a lot of good offensive linemen, especially in the interior, really good defensive linemen, and good running backs. So I think every team's going to want to hammer that.
Yep, I could not agree more.
All right, Cowboys at 12. Right now, they are favored to take a wide receiver, and I do think they're probably going to do that as it stands.
Yep, me too.
The problem is McMillan's injuries. And I'll be honest, we say this all the time, speed kills. I think this could be Matthew Golden here at 12.
I don't hate that. I actually had them going to the Packers in my mock. Is that your pick?
No, I'm too much of a coward. I'll do McMillan.
That's who I had. Yeah.
I don't see him fall. The fall's got to end at some point.
Yeah.
And like some mock drafts, like in my most recent one, I think I had him going at like 26. I was like, I just don't think that's going to happen.
Nah, I could say, wide receivers are just getting drafted much more, or much higher than they used to, and I think it's tough to, I think it's kind of weird even the fact that we got into 12 before we picked a wide receiver. Not necessarily in this class, but just like there's usually a guy that goes.
It's not a great receiver class, although I don't think it's that bad.
It's more like a middle. It's like this for every position, damn near. It's like there's a lot of good players, but there's not a lot of great players, at least as prospects.
Yeah. I think McMillan, though, has a really high upside. I like him a lot. Just injury concerns are his issues right now. And we'll see.
Yep. So, Dolphins, this is one that's tough again. I think, they could easily go corner here because they're trying to get rid of Jalen Ramsey.
That's a good call.
I think there's just so many things they could go here, but ultimately, like you said, I think a lot of teams are just going to be like, we need linemen. I'm going to go James Pierce here.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Who I've heard, really good, he has perfect body for the position, everything like that, really good bend. Maybe has some maturity issues, but ultimately, people will get over that if you can rush the passer. So,
I think they should go O-line, but they haven't really shown like an emphasis for that over the years.
Yeah.
I kind of need to see it. Same with the Niners. Like right now, I think they're favored to take an offensive lineman, or it's dead even between defensive line and offensive line in the first round for the Niners. And we've seen this team neglect that. And Middlecoff, who has connections to the Niners, says they're not going to probably do it. They'd rather take something else because they believe they can build a guy up later who was drafted later.
Yep.
So Indianapolis at 14. I think they would really love for Tyler Warren to fall to this spot. And they could still take Colston Loveland. Yep. The problem is I don't think Colston Loveland is what they really need. I don't think he's a yak pass catcher tight end. Yep. And Warren is. It could be Loveland. I don't think it will be though. So I think they go defense here.
By the way, I still think there's a good chance that's where Dallas Goedert goes. So
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Malachi Starks is staring right at me, but I said this to you the other day. How many safeties have been drafted in the top, or I'm sorry, in the first round since Kyle Hamilton? I think it's zero.
Not many. Or
That's just a
no,
position they don't really
bro.
value anymore.
Yeah.
So I think Starks continues to fall. I could see Jade Barron, but man, Armand Membu's still on the board.
Oh yeah. Damn.
I'm gonna go Jahad Campbell.
Okay. Off
I
ball.
think he's gonna get picked higher than people think.
Yeah, I had him going to the Rams. Actually, I like that
I
pick.
think he goes
Actually.
first round. I think there's again for a lot of these guys. I think there's a wide variance of where they can end up getting picked.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Falcons can go so many different directions here. I mean, so many different directions here. I kind of want to do Armand, but I'm gonna go Michael Williams out of Georgia edge. I don't like that pick, but I do think that they need somebody that can rush the passer very bad. I mean, they've needed that for years at this point, and I
Yeah.
think they'll take a shot.
Right now, the defensive lineman, uh, not named Abdul Carter, it's held firm. It's the next defensive lineman to be picked after Abdul Carter. It's Mason Graham at -700, then Shamar Stewart, Mikael Williams, and Mike Green. The problem is that they're all like Stewart is plus 1100, Williams is plus 1400,
A
Green
long
is plus
best.
1500. There's no like huge disparity between those three. It could be any of those three. We'll see with Mikael Williams. Raheem Morris strikes me as more he wants someone with twitch, and that's
Yeah.
why I think Mike Green's more of a fit there. But all right, Arizona. You took Walter Nolan off the board, and I think that's who they might want to go with.
Yeah.
Um, Jade Barron's still on the board. Uh, is this where they could take Armand Membu?
I wouldn't put it past them. I don't know though. Defensive head coach, possibly.
Yeah, but I think they're in a position because they spent money on Josh Sweat and wasn't there an interior defensive? Maybe Dalvin Tomlinson.
Yeah.
I think they're okay there. They don't
True.
like they put them in a position where they don't have to lock themselves into a defensive lineman in the first round. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna go Jade Barron.
Okay, I like that pick. I had him going at 18 in mine, so right around the same
Hey, I mean
same
they
spot.
could be on the board in the 20s, but I think they're good players. So
I
we'll see.
agree. I think the Bengals sprint up to the board and draft Armand Membu if he's there. I don't
Yeah.
see him falling this
Well,
far.
do they? They took Amarius Mims last year.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I guess they need some defenders, but I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna go Membu.
All right. The slide has to stop eventually.
Yeah,
Seattle. See, this is a spot I don't feel like people are talking enough about them finding like a Ted McMillan, DK Metcalf replacement and drafting
yeah,
Ted McMillan if
yeah.
he was there.
I totally agree.
But they really need to bolster that O line because Sam Darnold can't move or not a great
Yeah, he can
mover.
move, but he's not great.
You really need to bolster the interior if he's going to be your quarterback. And he's still on the board. And I think this dude's going to go earlier than this. Kelvin Banks Jr.
Okay,
Probably going to end up being a guard. Might be able to play tackle. Probably going to kick inside the guard.
I had him going to the Cardinals in my mock, so I like that as well. We're on the same page. Okay, Bucks. I mean, I think there's a lot of really good D linemen here, so I'm going to go Shamar Stewart. I, I, I
Okay.
I think it'll be some defensive lineman, kind of obviously whoever's best on their board that falls to him, but I think that's going to be the position for sure.
Yeah, I think if Jahad Campbell's on the board, that's who they'd go with at 19. They're another team, though, kind of like Atlanta. With a 3-4 defense, they might want more of a smaller guy like Mike Green or Donovan Ezeraku. But as we said, I think I wouldn't be shocked if teams bet on traits. And
Yep.
Mikael Williams and Shamar Stewart are two of them with a lot of physical traits. Denver, I think they go running back.
I keep hearing people say that. I don't see it going first round, but they could. I mean, obviously Sean Payton did a lot of great work with Alvin Kamara, so I could see it. I assume the guy out of UNC, right?
Yeah, Amari and Hampton here are going to be my pick. I mean, I've heard people say don't be shocked if 3 running backs go in the first round. I'm not ready to say that, but I do think get ready for 2 in the top 20.
People love to overreact. Like the Eagles had a really stacked O line. That's why Saquon did so well. So I don't know. I just don't see
I
it.
could see a receiver here, like, could be Matthew Golden, but
I thought this would be where Colston Loveland could go. Just nice possession, big body guy for what's his name? What the hell can
I did that in one of my mock drafts, not the most recent one, though.
Yeah. 21. I just you got to keep swinging, right? I got Jackson Dart here. I don't necessarily even.
Ooh, okay.
You got to keep swinging, right? I mean, you don't have a quarterback. Even if you get Aaron Rodgers, which he's pissing me off at this point.
Man,
but,
I don't know what they're going to do. They've sunk all their chips into Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know if Aaron Rodgers wants to go there.
I don't either.
I listened to Cowherd and Middlecoff talk about it, and I agree with Cowherd. I still think Minnesota's in play.
Yeah, we're gonna see after OTAs. I think he's trying to kind of hold that off for that reason. But
But even if you do get Rodgers, like, you have to look at
he's
ahead.
done after this year, regardless.
Yeah.
It's a 1-year rental of a player. Like I said, is this probably an overdraft for Jackson Dart? Probably, but I mean they
I
have
like
to.
Jackson Dart.
I do too. I really do. But you got to keep swinging. So that's my pick there.
Okay. I've gone back and forth on that. At first, I was like, I believe the hype, the first round hype for Jackson Dart. Now I've kind of cooled off on it. I want to see what other analysts do. Like if it's Wednesday and Daniel Jeremiah has him going first round and Schrager, like, okay, this dude's going first round.
I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell he gets past the Rams. I think if he's still there at 26 and the
You
Rams
think the Rams are going to go quarterback? I don't know.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, I'm up with the Chargers. Everyone's going to point to receiver. I don't see or tight end. I believe tight end before I believe receiver for the
me too.
Chargers. I'm going to go Mike Green. I think he's the best defensive lineman on the board.
Nice. Okay. I like that.
All right, now I'm putting my Packers in your hands. I'm curious what you do. I have a feeling I know, but
Not a sexy pick, but I think you're going to go Derek Harmon out of Oregon.
okay. I really like that pick.
Okay, yeah, I that's he's another one of my draft crushes. I think there's a small chance he falls into like the late 20s and the Eagles maybe trade up for, but
one of these teams, I think he goes somewhere in the 20s.
Yeah,
Green Bay, Minnesota,
or the Chargers. Yeah, like I could see him.
I
Going
think
to
Detroit, Baltimore, Buffalo. There are a lot of teams that could use a guy like him, and I think he's a good player. And I think he meets their. They're really strict about their thresholds.
I totally agree.
And I think he meets them. All right, Minnesota is up. I think they go DB here, corner, safety.
Yep.
Who's the best corner on the board? Trey Amos. I don't know if I see him as a first-round pick just yet.
Yeah.
But the slide has to stop eventually. I'm going to go Malachi Starks.
Damn, I was hoping he fell to Philly. Malachi Starks. I don't hate it. I think very high floor player, and I think he's going to be a really good player. And I think we need to stop like not us, in particular, but like a lot of NFL players, like, dude, if a guy is gonna step in and like be elite, which I think Malachi Starks can be, like stop with the position shit. Like, would you rather have an elite safety or a decent D end? Some people maybe would say a decent D end, but it's like, nah, I just want really good players all over the field if I can get them. I really like that pick, and I think there's a chance he goes higher. To be honest with you.
Oh, I do too. I mean,
Yeah.
he's considered a top 10 to 12 player in this draft. The problem is, and keep saying that, just look at the track record of safeties. Like,
Yeah.
there haven't been very many picked in the first round over the years. It's been Kyle Hamilton, and I don't even remember if there was a safety drafted in 2021 in the first
No,
round.
they thought Branch might go first round, but he ended up
Yeah,
going
that was
second.
one.
So,
But he lacked athleticism. I don't know about Malachi Starks. So many guys didn't test during
look how
this
good Brian
period.
Branch ended up being. You know what I mean?
know.
It's like he's one of the best defenders on that whole team. So,
I don't. We'll see. I don't have a problem taking a safety. I think that position's been devalued, and I don't really understand why. But I would take a safety if I really needed one.
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, having bad safety play is in the modern NFL, I think is is not great. I mean, you can get beat over the top a lot. So, I also think they work the middle of the field so much now because there's no such thing as a hospital ball anymore. So, like, you need somebody that can kind of, command the middle of the field, maybe come down in the box and also play deep, like I think Starks can. This is where I honestly think after the Packers is where it was just like, I have no effing idea what's going to go on here.
See, for me, it's Minnesota. Because, actually, no, Houston. Because I think Houston's going to go O-line. I actually think
So
they're
do
going to
I.
trade
I
up
just
for
don't
one.
know who.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Nick Scourton. I think he's probably, in my opinion, maybe the best O-lineman
At
left.
25?
Yeah.
Okay, just there are some offensive linemen on the board.
Who? Hold on. Did I
Justin Simmons is one, or
on, I
Josh
got-
Simmons. Sorry,
No, hold on. Give me one sec.
just giving you an opportunity. I've always mocked Simmons to the Texans at 25, and I honestly think they might have to trade up if they're going to get an offensive lineman.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay,
You're not wrong. Okay. Josh Simmons.
Okay, now we're at the Rams.
I love Jackson Dart here, by the way. I know I already said that, but I'm telling you, I can see that happening if having him sit a year. I think they're solid on defense. They're solid on offense. I think they need their quarterback in the future.
I think they need a premium position here, whether it's a tackle or a corner. And one tackle staring at me in the face, and it's Josh Connerly Jr. I think he's going to go first round. And I think he's a true tackle.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs need a tackle if the Chiefs move up to go get him. Because Minnesota is
Yeah.
a team that is primed to trade back. They don't pick again until, I think, the 5th round.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Ravens. I mean, they're going to go O or D lineman here. I think.
I like Ezraku here for them. I'm
Yeah,
not trying to make a
it's
pick
so
for them.
fun. Like, that's who I had going to the Lions next. But yeah, I'm going to go Donovan Ezraku.
Or Kenneth Grant. I think it would be one of those two. I think Kenneth Grant's a really good player. All right, now Detroit. They're another team I think could trade up because I think they're pretty set on edge rusher. It could be an interior defensive lineman.
There's a lot too.
There's a lot. There are quite a few. This is a really good defensive lineman draft. Let me look at different positions here. Is there a world where it's a receiver?
Yeah, the reason I say no is because I think Golden could go here, but I think he's too similar to what's his name,
James
so I just
Williams.
don't see it. But it
I
honestly
could see a
would-
guard. Honestly,
Yeah.
this is what I'm going to do here. Because I think this dude's going to go in the first round. He's not very athletic, but the dude's just a mauler, and that's Tyler Booker. And I think that is Dan Campbell.
Okay.
With all the
like
defensive
that.
linemen off the board.
Okay. I like that. Commanders. I think it's pretty much a guarantee they go defense and probably defensive back. I'm not even saying I like this pick, but I'll go Ben Morrison.
Wow. Okay.
I feel like we always see like a random ass cornerback going these really late first
Well, I
round.
can't tell. I think I want to talk about position totals here in a minute. But if the over under for like DB is, if we're counting safeties too, 3.5,
Yeah,
I could see 3. Who's the fourth? In
yeah,
the first round,
I agree.
and someone probably will. Whether it's a Maxwell Harrison, Trey Amos, the safety from South Carolina, Emin Wari. I don't know. Morrison, it solely depends on his medicals, and I don't know. I'm not in the room.
Yeah, I do think he has high upside, but I agree the medicals probably are the concern there.
Buffalo. If I think they'd be rushing this card in, Kenneth Grant.
Okay, okay. I like that pick too. Okay.
Man, I think we're gonna get 3 receivers in the first round, at least 3, and the top 3 guys on the board on PFF are receivers: Burden, Ibuka, Golden.
I could see them going Emeka Egbuka here for sure, but I like your pick probably a little bit more. I'm just going to go straight homer pick here because I do think they need a tackle, even though he is another player that probably will end up being a guard, and it's WVU's very own Wyatt Millum.
Oh
at,
wow, this
at
is a
tackle for them.
huge jump for him.
I don't even give a shit. I'm doing it.
I was wondering where you were going with the homer pick. I was like, who's he going with here?
I don't care. They're going to pick a tackle, probably Cam Williams or like an Ariante Nursery or something. But
If it were me, I would have gone with Gray Zabel out of
Okay.
North Dakota State.
Okay.
Probably a guard, but he has the body of a tackle. He's what, 6'6", 305.
I can
Probably
tell
end up
you.
being a guard.
I can tell you right now, if the board falls this way, this is the easiest pick for the Eagles of all time, and they're going to sprint it
Well,
up.
don't tell me. I'm curious if I can get it.
Yep.
I think Loveland's in play here
Yep.
with all the news about Dallas
That's
Goedert.
exactly who I was going to say.
Were you? Okay.
Yep.
That's probably what I'm going to end up doing because I think Colston Loveland is probably going to go round 1.
Yeah.
Because I think this could be a draft where the receivers aren't that good, and let's say McMillan and Tyler Warren, McMillan, and Ibuka are off the board. Do you like Burden? Golden has elite speed, so let's pretend it's those 3 then. McMillan, Golden, and Warren are off the board. Do you like? It depends on if you like Loveland more than Ibuka or Burden. And Burden seems like the odd man out. I think someone's probably going to take Ibuka and Golden in the first round.
I could see it. I could definitely see Golden, kind of throwing him into the slot there, or even putting Devontae in the slot and bumping him out. But I just think Loveland's kind of slid a little bit. I think another player that they could look at here is Uman Wari from the safety from Notre Dame.
So that's another one. Odds to be a first round pick. Emin Wari is minus 1,500, the highest of the dudes listed.
I could say. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want them to go safety, but I won't be mad if they take an O or D lineman here. But I think it's probably that.
For me, I just keep looking at that track record. One safety in the last 3 years has gone in the first round.
Yeah. But it's like once you get down to like 30, 31, 32, it's like
No,
I can see it, but
this isn't a first round pick in value.
Yeah. Exactly. I hated this draft.
So
dude.
you think Loveland, and that's probably who, when I do my final mock draft on Thursday, I'm probably going to mock Loveland to the Eagles. I think that makes too much sense.
Yeah.
So I want to get into position totals here because I don't think they've released it anywhere. Draft specials, maybe player parlays, early props. I'm just trying to find if there are any draft position, maybe. Nope. Top 5 first round. Just making sure. Oh, here we go. Okay, position totals. There are some on DraftKings. I want us to guess
Okay.
the position totals.
Okay.
I think this will be a fun game.
Okay. Are we doing O linemen and D linemen together, or are they separating those out?
No, let's separate those. But we combine guards and tackles.
Okay.
So quarterback, let's do running back. Let's do receiver, but not together with tight end.
Okay.
And then we do just O-line, tackles, and guards. D-line, that's edge and interior. And then off-ball linebacker. And I don't know if they do DB together or not.
I don't think they do because those are actually different positions. So let's separate those out.
All right. All right. Quarterback. I fully expect this number to be 2.5.
I agree, and I'm going to go over.
You're going to go over.
Is it 2.5?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
We don't have to give. I just want to guess what they are, then we'll see. You don't have to give a prediction right now. We can wait till later in the week.
I actually think there's a chance for Miko, the guy from Louisville, like a trade up late. You know what I mean? If let's say the Giants do don't get their quarterback at 3 like my dumbass did in this draft. Like I could see them trading up and getting that guy and probably being very happy with their first 2 rounds there. So I'll definitely go over. I think it might be 3.5 actually, dude. If we're going like Vegas betting line, I think they might go 3.5.
But we'll see. If it's 2.5, I'm leaning over right now.
I would say
we'll go through all of them and then we'll take a look at what DraftKings has. Running back, I think this number is also 2.5.
I think this is going to be 1.5, but I'm going to get if it's 2.5, I'm going under.
Okay. 2.5, I'm still going to say under.
Yeah.
Well, we won't make these official predictions.
Yeah.
If it's 1.5, you think under or over?
Over, because I do think there'll be 2. I don't see 3 though.
All right, receiver.
I think 3.5.
I would imagine 3.5. Yeah,
maybe 4.5. But I'll go over there.
If it's 4.5, that's an easy under in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll go over 3.5. I think probably 4 get taken first round.
I've done this every year since like 2021. Take the under on receiver and get proven wrong every time.
Yeah.
And last year, like, I was right for like the first 27 picks. And then like the last 5 picks were receiver. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yep.
3.5, I lean under right now. I think like McMillan, Golden, and Ibuka will be taken. Burden feels like the odd man out right now.
Yeah.
Tight end. I'll be shocked if this is over.
It's 1.5.
I'll say 2.5. Yeah.
I think it's got to be 1.5.
It might. I honestly was gonna say it might be 1.5. And I think
because like we just get like I think Colston Loveland is a first round pick in principle, but like you saw, he just in our mock he just slid all the way to 32. Yeah. I mean, we're only So
well, tight ends is one of those positions like safety. I think they could fall. Who was the dude? Michael Mayer fell to the second round a couple years ago.
Yep.
And 1.5. You think over or under?
I'm gonna go over. I think 2 get drafted.
You've hit the over on every single one so far.
Not running back.
I thought you said over 1.5.
No, I thought we did 2.5 there. That's what I wrote down.
Oh, I thought you said 1.5.
No, I said 2.5 for running back. Right. I thought you said 2.5 for running back, and I said I think it'll be 1.5. But yeah, that makes sense. Honestly, I think.
So you want to go 2.5?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, and you think
it'll be under,
and you think under. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and I've taken the under on 3 out of 4. I took over on quarterback. That's just never a bad bet.
Yeah.
O-line. Now this is going to be tricky.
It's going to be
guards
like
and tackles.
It's like 6.5, maybe.
Oh, I think it's going to be more than that.
Yeah. 8.5.
Campbell, Mimbu.
Graham. Or not Graham. Will Campbell.
Yeah. I said Campbell, Mimbu.
Yeah.
And then, who is the dude? Kelvin Banks Jr. Josh Simmons. Josh Connerly. That's 5 tackles right there. And then I think Tyler Booker.
Tyler Booker. It might be under, actually.
I'll say, because Zabel's kind of on the fence. I'll say 7.5.
I agree with you. I'll go under there because I think there's going to be a bigger run on defensive linemen than offensive linemen. I think there's a little more
What's
upside
the number
there.
you're predicting?
6.
You just 6 on flat or 6.5?
No, I think 6 is going to get drafted, so if 7.5 is the line, I would go under.
But what's the number you're saying you're going to say?
7.5 sounds good to me.
Okay.
I think that's a good line.
7.5. Did I include Gray Zabel in that? I don't remember. Campbell,
No, you didn't.
Bimbu, Banks,
Connerly,
Simmons. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go under as well. 7.5. Defensive lineman. This is going to be a big number.
It's 10.5.
I was just thinking that, honestly.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'll go
it's
10.5, and I'll
Carter-
go over.
Carter, Stewart, Williams, Graham. Hang on. I'm going to have to look. Carter, Stewart, Williams, Pierce,
Yeah, I like how this is shaking out, actually. Okay.
Green, Ezeraku, and then Grant, Graham, Harmon. Yeah, I will say probably more like 9.5.
Okay.
Because some of those guys might be tweeners.
And I'm going over.
What's your number?
11. 10, 10.5. 10.5.
10.5.
And I'm still
Going
going
over. 9.5. I'll go over as well, just because I keep saying under. All right, linebacker. I'll be shocked if it's. Well, it depends on how are they classifying Jalen.
See, that's exactly what I was going to say. That's tough for me because it depends on how the team's going to use them. If we're just talking true off-ball linebacker, I'd say 1.5. But if we're talking like these hybrid players, it's probably more like 2.5.
My guess is it depends on what the team writes in. So if Carolina
Exactly.
says, and I would assume that they'll say Jalen Walker is a linebacker, then it's obviously, I think, going to be 2.5.
Let's go 2.5. I like that. And I'll go under there.
Yeah. Corner. I think this number's 2.5. I think Johnson and Barron are guarantees, as close to guarantees as they get. Who sneaks in?
There's
as a
always
third?
like you just said
know.
that about wide receivers. I feel that way about cornerbacks. There's always some
Well,
guy
last year, who was it? Baltimore took him late.
that
Nate
Wiggins.
Wiggins.
Yeah.
Wiggins. And I didn't think he would go, and then all the chatter, though, was he's going to go. I'm like, I don't know where, but okay.
Yeah.
And he did.
And he's a good player.
Yeah, I'm good with 3.5. Someone will probably sneak in, whether it's
Yeah.
a Trey Amos, a Morrison, Maxwell Harrison. I think one of them probably sneaks in.
I agree.
And I still think under. I don't see
Yep.
4.
Me too.
Safety, I say 2.5.
I would say
Let's go 1.5.
Yeah, I think 1.5. I think Starks is a guarantee, and I think Uman could be the second possibly, but I could also see him going second round.
I took under on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these.
I took the over almost.
you going
For
over or
safety, I'm gonna go under. I think only one gets taken.
Yeah, again, track record. Even though Emin is favored to go in the first round, track record says it's only going to be one, and I think it's going to be Starks.
And
I mean,
could
it
I
could
see
be
him-
like Emin and not Starks.
Yeah, and I could see one of them going like 35th. You know what I mean? Like top of the second round type of player, but like I don't know. You know how these
Before we check DraftKings, let's combine these as DB and come up with a
Okay.
number.
Okay. I would say 4.5.
4.5? Yeah,
Yeah.
4.5. And I'm going to lean under there.
So am I. I'm not kidding. I could see like 14 defensive linemen being taken.
Yeah, I think I said under for O-line. I kind of want to change that to over, but whatever. There's probably an offensive lineman that I forgot about, but anyway. I think 9.5. I think you said 10.5, and I went 9.5 for D line. I think I'm being a little conservative there. If it's 12 defensive linemen, I wouldn't be shocked.
And again, I think that also comes down to like how they're classifying some of the linebackers in this class. Like if they, we're going to put this guy.
I would imagine if they are listed as a linebacker, they're chalking it up as a linebacker.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though it's 2025, we don't really do that anymore. Just call them an edge.
Yep, I totally agree. It's actually cool that they did that because it's like a defensive end and an outside linebacker or they're doing the same
just
thing.
One has a hand in the dirt and one standing up.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Okay, so they split it up on DraftKings. Total corners. Wow, selected. Their number is 4.5.
Under. I would fucking smoke the under there.
So we both are close there at 3.5, but neither of us were right. I cannot believe I don't see 5 getting in.
Me neither. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was only 3. So, yeah, I'm definitely going.
Right now, the under is minus 295. If that number stays, and I'll do shit. I gotta get a stand. If that number stays at 3.5, or was it 4.5? I'm hammering the under. Depends on if you're available. I want to do a podcast before, like the night before the draft.
It just has to be late. I get off at 7, but I can do that.
Fine.
Or actually, that's because the draft starts on Friday this year, not Thursday, right?
No, it's always Thursday.
I think they moved it.
No way. They've been
hold on.
doing it this way forever.
I know.
April 24th. Thursday.
Okay. I can do this week. Because I still have to get you my final mock.
Yeah, I think I might be doing a live show, and it might include Armand from our Chick-fil-A.
My boy. How's he doing?
Doing pretty well, I assume. I saw he got married, and
Yeah.
he's coaching lacrosse, I think. He said, I got a lacrosse game that night, but I think I can make it.
Cool.
And I would ask you, but you're never available. You can come on.
I'm also going to be out of commission this year. I have we do a rec league. I have kickball on Thursday, so I should be back for like.
Yeah, like if you can hop on, like because by the time you're done, I'm sure the Eagles will be coming up.
Is it through this?
Yeah,
Like-
I'm sure it will be. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I'll let you know.
All right.
But let's podcast time this week.
Yeah. And we're both going under for 4.5 on corners. I can't believe that number.
They know something we don't. Sure.
Defensive linemen, I'm gonna take here at 8.5.
Hammering the over again.
Yeah, I would take the over. So I win that one. 8.5. I would take the over there as well. Teams are going to hammer trenches, I think, in this draft. It's a good draft for trenches. Offensive linemen. Okay, neither of us win here. We both had 7.5, and it's 6.5. That's fair. I think that's a fair number.
I had 6. I have 6 going, so I would still go the under there.
You think under 6.5?
Yeah. I just think there's much more. It's kind of another one of those things. Like, do you want a pretty or a pretty good guard? It's like I'm going to go D tackle every time. So I think a lot of those, tweener
Well, there are
tackle
5
guards.
tackles and then Booker. I think that's who they're counting. The 5 tackles: Campbell, M'Bow, Banks, Connerly, Simmons, and then probably Booker are 6. And that's fair because Zabel, I don't really know. Like I could see him sneaking in late. I could see him falling to day 2. So that's probably a fair number. I'll go under as well, I guess. Although my final mock draft will probably have 7.
Yeah. That's when I'll know these numbers for sure after I look at my final mock. I'm gonna tweak mine a little bit this week. So
quarterbacks is 2.5. We both got that right, and we both hammered the over. And right now the over is minus 360 for quarterbacks.
yeah, there's going to be a third taken.
Because I remember a couple years ago, 2022, not a great draft, horrible quarterback draft, and the number was 2.5, I believe, and we both said over, even though this is a bad draft. and it ended up being under. But I
That's
actually
Malik
think this
Willis,
is a
wasn't it? Is that the Malik
that was
Willis
Malik
draft?
Willis,
Yeah.
Malik Willis, and Kenny Pickett, and
He slid
Sam
far. He ended
Howell,
up
all
going,
those
what,
guys.
fourth round? Third round.
Willis was third.
Yeah, that was surprising. But, I mean, it ended up
But
being
I
right.
like this. I like these quarterbacks more than those quarterbacks.
I do, too. I don't even think it's close either. Like, I think these are better players. I really do.
Yeah. So we're both going. No, we're both going over there. Until I see otherwise. Running backs 2.5.
Under.
I'm gonna go under there, but again, I wouldn't be shocked. They don't have tight ends on here. All right, wide receivers. Wow, they have 2.5.
Over. I'll go over. For sure.
Yeah, I would go over as well. Huh. I thought for sure it would be 3.5. If that number holds, this is the first time I will say that take the over. I don't know where they're going to go, but I would take the over.
I can't see only 2 wide receivers being taken in the first round of any draft from here in, perpetuity. Like, there's just no shot. It's a passing league. So
I'm probably going to do it on my mock just because I don't know where. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, I think there are going to be probably 10 defensive linemen taken. The problem is where that second run starts after Abdul Carter. Does it start at 11? Does it start at 9? Does it start at 20? I don't know. But whenever it starts, they're all gonna go. And that was my whole thing with receiver last year, because I think the number was 6.5 last year for receiver, and it might have been more. And I said, I'm taking the under there. Because I said, I think 3 are going to go in the top 10, and you have a 4th who's probably going to go somewhere in the top 20, and he fell to 23. And I said, after that, I don't know who's going to take him after that. I don't know. I ended up being wrong because there were 3 straight picks where Worthy went, and then it was Ricky Parasol, which no one really had going in the first round. And
yeah,
then
that
Xavier
was a little
Legette.
bizarre.
It was a little bizarre. But I think... I don't know. I think 3 receivers are going to go. But I'll probably only have 2 taken in the first round. All right, this was fun. It's draft time, man. I enjoyed this.
Fucking hated that mock draft. But yeah.
I did too.
I'm going to tweak mine a little bit, and I'll have it over to you. And let's podcast one more time before Thursday and get it all on the board.
I really want, because we have both, I think, eclipsed. I don't know if you did it in 2023. I beat you in 2023, but that was a personal best for me. I got 7. And then last year we both got personal bests again. I got 8 right, and you got, I think it was 10. Do you remember the ones you got right? I was trying to remember last year.
I thought I got 9 and you got 8, maybe.
I thought it was 10. I know I got 8. I thought you got 10 because you got Odunze, which everyone else did, and I was the only one. I zagged and went Byron Murphy.
Yeah.
And I want to say you got... Let me look at the draft here. All right. You got Odunze. I don't think you got Fashanu to the Jets. I think I did.
I think I did. Yeah, I think I did get him to the Jets.
I thought it was Fuanga to the Saints. That was who I thought.
Yeah, no, I did get. Yeah, I got that. I remember.
So I think your number was 10. I can go and look, but
10's pretty good. I don't see me getting more.
10's phenomenal.
I don't think I get any more
phenomenal.
than 5 this year. So
I know, but I really want to get another personal best or at least tie it.
But this just isn't the draft for it. I agree. I mean, it'd be cool, but there's no way you're getting. I'm not going to say there's no way, but I don't see you getting 8. I don't see either of us getting 8. So
yeah, you got 10 last year because Schrager got 12, Chris Sims got 11, Field Yates got 10, James Connolly 10, Daniel Jeremiah 8, Trevor Sikkema 8, Shane Price 8, Matt Miller 7, Connor Rogers 7. So
I just want to
be the ESPN guy.
I just want to beat Mel Kiper. I'm the Baltimore draft guy, not Mel Kiper.
Hang on, I gotta pull up his mock real quick. Let's just keep it going. I know he posted one. He does it early.
Yeah, he has. He does like a new one every week, all the way leading up.
3-round mock. Mel Kiper. Let's look up. Does he not do one? Final mock draft. Okay. This is April 8th. So he has Cam Ward. I'm going to write this down so that we don't forget.
Who? Mel Kiper's?
Kiper, yeah.
Just bring it up again. Why are you writing it?
What's that? You're right. I'll just share it.
Or I just mean you can bring it up whenever you want.
Yeah. Well, I want it on. Now, I don't think he will. He didn't do it last year. He does it early.
That's bizarre.
This is final. This is his. Well, okay. It doesn't say final, but. But anyway, this is from April 8th. I'll find the final one. Don't you worry. He has Cam Ward going 1, Travis Hunter 2, Abdul Carter 3, Will Campbell 4, Mason Graham 5, Ashton Genty 6. Okay, so we're going chalk here for the most part. And this is exactly, by the way, what I'm probably going to do.
Yeah.
Amon Mimbu 7, Jalen Walker 8, Shadur Sanders 9, Tyler Warren 10. This is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm telling you, unless something crazy happens with these odds on FanDuel and DraftKings, this is the exact top 10 I'm going to do. And then he has Will Johnson at 11. I'm probably going to do something different. Omarion Hampton at 12 to Dallas. Jahdae Barron to the Dolphins at 13. Colston Loveland to the Colts at 14. Mike Green, I would do this, to the Falcons at 15. He has Matthew Golden going to the Cardinals at 16. I could see that.
I could see that too.
Jahad Campbell going to the Bengals at 17. Kelvin Banks going to the Seahawks, which we had today. I think we did at least, at 18. He has Emin Wari going to the Bucks at 19. Tet McMillan going to the Broncos at 20. Derek Harmon going to the Steelers.
He's too
Gray
similar.
Zabel going to Chargers. Mikael Williams going to the Packers. I would be fine with that. Wow, Donovan Jackson going to the Vikings. I don't know if I see him going this early. Josh Connerly Jr. going to the Texans. Jackson Dart, here you go, going to the Rams at 26.
Telling you, dude.
Malachi Starks going to the Ravens. Donovan Ezeraku going to the Lions. Shamar Stewart. I think this is about Shamar Stewart's range, but FanDuel says otherwise. Going to the Commanders. Maxwell Hairston. This is the third corner that we're talking about. Going to the Bills. I can see that. Josh Simmons going to the Chiefs. I don't know if he'll be there at 31. We'll see. And then James Pierce going to the Eagles.
Oh my God, I would shit a brick if they got James Pierce at 32. There's no shot. No shot.
And then he gives a second round. He has Tyler Shuck going 33. Wow.
Who? I don't even know who that
Tyler
is.
Shuck, the Louisville quarterback.
Oh, okay.
Is that not how you pronounce his name? Shuck?
I
thought it
I
was.
have no idea. I didn't know his name.
Milroe going to the Giants at 34.
Okay.
Abuka going at 36. I'm just looking for Burden at 38. Walter Nolan at 39. I forgot about him. Azariah Thomas. I would say that's one to keep an eye on for Green Bay.
Philly too.
That would be a very Green Bay pick. Like, totally out of left field. You're like, what? Like, they always do this. They take a guy who's, and I'm not bashing Green Bay, but you're just like, okay, like, I like this board. Who are we? I'm fine with any of these top three. And then they take, like, the seventh guy on the board.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, the Packers are just always in that, like, 22 to 26 range every single year. And it's hard to get a good player at that spot. It really is.
They have their thresholds and their system, and you can, as much as you want to bash them for it, not you specifically, everyone, it works for them.
Yeah.
It's why they're in the playoffs every year.
That's all that matters.
Travion Henderson to the Bears at 41.
Now that I
Grant, he has going to the Niners at 43. Trey Amos going to Dallas at 44. I think that's fair. I don't see him going first round.
Yeah.
Benjamin Morrison to the Falcons at 46. Depends on his medicals. Booker going to the Cardinals at 47. JT Tuimoloau going to the Bengals at 49. I would like him if I were the Packers. Siobhan Ravel to the Seahawks at 50. That's a player I Again, like Morrison, if the medicals are clear, I think he might slip into the first round. Quinshawn Judkins going to the Broncos at 51. Jaden Higgins going to the Seahawks at 52. I would have liked him. Nick Skirton to the... I think it's Skirton or Scourton.
I think it's Scourton.
Going to the Bucks at 53. Okay, I'm fine with this. Jack Betch, receiver out of TCU, going to the Packers at 54. Is it Beck or Betch? I don't know.
Yeah, it was just funny.
Mason Taylor, I think that's another name to keep an eye on, going to the Chargers at 55. Talik Williams, going to the Bills at 56. Darian Porter, going to the Commanders at 61. And then he has the Eagles taking Kevin Winston Jr. out of the safety from Penn State at 64. All right, I'm going to find his final mock because I want to see how we do compared to him.
I think he'll drop it this week. We're going to get a lot of final mocks this week, so I'll keep up with him and adjust.
I don't know. I hold off until the 11th hour I want to see what everyone else, because we don't have insiders like other people.
Schrader's at ESPN now. Like, he's going to I'm going to go off Schrader.
That's one, him and Daniel Jeremiah, and honestly Chris Sims. Chris Sims is pretty damn good at it.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, bud. I will let you go. We've been going for well over an hour, but it feels good, man. The draft's here.
I'm a Baltimore draft guy, so.
I like that you called yourself that. Because for those that don't know, Mel Kiper, is he from Baltimore? Lives in Baltimore? Something like that?
I don't know if he's from here. I know he lives here now, though.
Yeah. There's some sort of connection there.
So.
Mel Kiper. I like the guy. He's the godfather of drafts and big boards, but he's honestly probably the worst in the business right now.
Worse than the business. It used to be him and Todd McShay. I
like McShay. I think he does okay.
I do too.
ESPN that's why they went and got Schrager. They trot Mel Kiper out every year, and then he sucks.
Schrager's plugged in, man.
He's the godfather.
And I love Schrager.
I wonder. How long has he been at ESPN? Not that long. Like
he just got
this
there.
month. Yeah.
He just got there. Yeah.
I hope he does a mock draft this week.
He will.
All right, my man. I'll let you go. Enjoy your Easter Sunday.
Happy Easter.
Yep.
Later, buddy.
Later.